Hello guys, and welcome to a new Steel Division 2 video today by me, Vulcan. Today I have for you game 2 of a best of 3 between Gonzo and ZZ in the semi-finals of Season 2 of the Steel Division League. Today they are playing on Orsha East, and on the left, on the red side we have ZZ playing on the Soviets, using the 2nd Guards Tank Corps and the Vanguard deployment type. And on our right, we have Gonzo on the blue team playing on the Axis side using the Panssaridivisioona and the flatline deployment type. So it's interesting to see that both players have switched side, especially so for ZZ, who actually won using the Axis side in the first game. So maybe for him it's just a matter of switching things up, maybe thinks he can use some of the more aggressive Soviet divisions. I feel like the Soviets tend to have a better time in the early games, so maybe going for a quick win here to seal the deal in this best of 3 series. But Gonzo, of course, not going to give up too easily. He's got to win 2 in a row to bring this back and move on to the final himself. So I expect this one to be a hell of a clash. So the 2nd Guards Tank Corps, we have seen it before, does have the abundance of the T-34-85s and the T-34-76s. So lots of fast-moving tanks, and the T-34-85s, especially the 1944 variants, do provide some decent power for sure. On the side of Gonzo, the Panssaridivisioona is quite an interesting one. It does lack in the infantry tab, but has an abundance of different tanks with different things. So it's got the T-26s, which are just great light infantry support. You've got T-28s, similar sort of role, but with a bit more firepower. You've got the Stürmies, which are Stug 3s, and those can provide decent anti-armor capability, especially versus T-34-76s at range. You've got some of your own T-34-85 1944s in the Panssaridivisioona. They also have a really nice air tab. It's quite a cheap activation cost air tab, so you can bring quite a nice bunch of bombers like the Do-17s and the Blenheims. I think you also get some cluster Ju-87s in there. And then there's some nice AA with the Landswerk and some other stuff mixed in. So yeah, a really interesting division, the Panssaridivisioona, and Gonzo's put down a lot of his troops already. So let's have a look at what he's put down so far. So up on this top side we have the Alati, which is the 2 or 4 man AT rifle squad. Then we have the Kavari. These guys are your standard line infantry for the front line, and then there's going to be a 45mm AT gun further back. Down towards the center we have 2 sets of units here. We've got the Taka-Ampuja and the Lati leading the charge. The Taka-Ampuja are 2-man recon squads. Both of them have sniper rifles, very, very efficient squad. And then 2 Yakari, which are the sort of smaller men squads with both Molotovs and Panzerfaust. Can be quite useful, supported with other infantry. Then there's going to be an AT gun there, followed up by a KV-1S, the Klimi. Then onto this road we see the Taka-Ampuja. It looks like Gonzo's chosen to bring the Nostovaki in phase A, and then he's got the Yakari and 2 AT guns there. One is the 75mm and one is the 45mm. Then we see the T-34-76. I believe this is the 1942 variant with 90 front armor, and then there's a Stürmy there to follow things up. That looks like it's going to be placed with these units on that road. Further down, on the bottom side, we have a 45mm AT gun. There's going to be 2 Nostovaki and the 2 Yakari, and then we have a leader on that bottom side. Over on the side of ZZ, he's going to be bringing in 2 Gvardia DP. These are your line infantry squads with an extra machine gun. Then you've got the Tanko-Dasaniki, which are the close-range 8-man infantry squads with Molotovs, and 2 Gvardia squads. Then further up, we see multiple units of Ogdemachiki. That's 5 2-man flamer squads. Then we see 2 Gvardia DP squads, and then 3 Gvardia to follow up. Towards the top side, a large amount of forces being pushed here. There's going to be 3 flamer squads to lead the charge in their jeeps. Then followed up by 2 Tanko Dasaniki and Aftermachiki. And then Gvardia DP, 2-star 45mm AT gun. And then the T-34 76 1943, T-34 76 Komroti, which is the leader variant, and the T-34 85 1944. So I think we saw Gonzo use the 1943 variants in the early game. I think it's nice to see some T-34 85 1944s in the early game though, because they do have the extra rate of fire. 45mm AT gun for the top, and a Gvardia squad. So all of these forces are going to be heading towards these two flags. Looks like he's going to be trying to contest the closest flag to his front line. So this is a really interesting deployment from both players. ZZ are deploying very far up in the center as well. So this is going to be an explosive engagement as well. One thing I did want to note on though is ZZ's use of veterancy. In the previous game, we saw his Panzer IVs come in at 2-star veterancy, and this time he's bringing in the 45mm at 2-star veterancy. That means that he doesn't have to rely so much on leaders to get extra value out of his units, and I think a lot of people are kind of scared to do 2-star veterancy on the units, especially considering you can get 3-star veterancy with just a 1-star veterancy unit. But in this case, it means that isolated units can be a lot more powerful, and I think that's something to note in ZZ's deck building. Either way, these Flamer squads did manage to get all the way up. They're going to have to deal with the Nostavaki. And the Nostavaki are 8-man disheartened units. So if the Flamers can get the better of them, then it might go pretty well. However, so far, 2 of those Flamer squads have been isolated and killed off very quickly indeed. The Taka Ampullas engaging from a distance. On this top side, the Flamer squads are also being chewed up pretty well. One of the Gvardia DP does go down. I think that was just the standard Gvardia squad actually that died. So the AT gun and the Taka Ampulla, they're doing very, very well. The Lati squad, the 4-man AT rifle squad, that will deal some decent damage to these half-tracks should they move up. Further down though, we do see this continued engagement between the Nostavaki and the Oknemachiki, the Gvardia DP trying to cover them from a distance. Of course, the Nostavaki do have their own Molotovs that they can use to unseat those 2-man Flamer squads, and that's why they dealt with them so damn well. Further down, not really too much going on, both players being rather conservative on the bottom side. So it's this engagement on the top side that we've got to keep an eye on. The 45mm AT gun currently trying to take care of this KV-1S and the 45mm. The Tanko Desaniki and Avtos are now moving in. We'll have to be careful. Gonzo might change the target. Does actually manage to take out the T-34-76 leader, which is going to take away the 3-star veterancy from the 45mm, but this KV-1S is dealt with. The T-34-85-1944 does come up onto the ridge, gets the job done. Meanwhile, into the town we see these Gvardia being unloaded on the road, and they are coming under heavy fire from the machine guns of the Nostavaki, and actually taking tons of damage, way more than I would have expected from those Nostavaki machine guns. Gonzo, his infantry is being chewed up here. The Tanko Dasaniki and the Avtos did get into position, so the Yakari and the Lati squads were dealt with very, very quickly at the close range. There's 45mm on the high ground though, finding shots onto the M2A1 half-track, so that's going to stop it firing at the Yakari, which are going to be able to get away for the time being. More Nostavaki coming into the center, and it looks like Gonzo is going to be making use of 2-star veterancy T-26Bs. Look at that. Okay, and that's going to be led by 2 T-34-85 with 1942 variants with a 90mm of frontal armor. So this AT gun so far has done pretty well to take out that T-34. Let's see if it can do anything else. It might be able to penetrate one of these 1943s, but maybe not so much the 1942 variant. This Taka Ampulla, it might be in a bit of trouble if the Avtos manage to get on top of it. You can see they're not doing particularly a lot of damage at the moment. They are going to want to do a runner, otherwise that's going to create a nice salient for ZZ to push through. Nostavaki pushing hard into the center now. They are getting right on top of the Gvardia DP. Looks like the 2 squads that were on the road have both been killed. T-34 goes down on the side of Gonzo to the T-34-85-1944 of ZZ. And so far, we've got a lot of action on the top and middle side of the map. On the top side and middle of the map probably makes more sense. But yeah, the Taka Ampulla did go down. weren't ran back in time. Nice salient for ZZ, but not going to capture him any flags. It's not a massive worry for Gonzo just yet. Gonzo currently sitting 13 to 11, having taken control of this flag. So, all of this action, and not too much to show for it on either side currently. Off-map has been brought in, the 152mm off-map from ZZ. Going to be falling on top of Gonzo's Yakari squads. These T-26s, I'm not entirely sure how effective they're going to be able to be. At close range they can be great, but as you can see at longer ranges, the T-34-76 is more than enough to deal with plenty of these T-26Bs, although saying that, that must have been a really low penetration chance the T-34 goes down. The T-26s come out victorious. That caught me off guard for sure. Oh, nice move here from ZZ, brings down the off-map, charges forwards with a squad of Tanko Dasaniki, and surrenders both of them with the half-track. T-34 finishes off the half-track, but the Tankos have unloaded in time, which is going to make it kind of annoying for Gonzo to push back into, should he bump into that squad. Another off-map strike going to be coming down. Not entirely convinced of the placement, as he might be able to see these squads coming, especially with his Gavadia squad here. So hitting more over both sets of buildings may have been preferable, but this will just be him setting up for an off-map strike which pins all of these down. Then he'll charge in with the Tanko Dasaniki and the Gavadia DP. A really nicely timed push here once again from ZZ, and the off-map plays coming in once again for sure. Off-map in the first game was quite prevalent, and it looks like it's going to be the same in the second game here. T-34, 1944 variant. Is he going to use the APCR tricking? He has turned it off and then turned it on again. Here comes the off-map. Needs to clean up this T-34 on the bottom side. So far, so good on an off-map. There we go. Nice armor crack there. Takes out the T-34. Gonna surrender the Sturmy. Probably the Nostovaki as well. Yakari is the leader. That is the commandant, sorry. That's the commander. Is he gonna get it? Is he gonna surrender it? He does. Takes out the commander already. T-26Bs have arrived. Do take out the half-track. It's a really nice kill found there for ZZ though. Two T-26s going down. The 45mm does kill off that T-34 in reply. Gavadia now engaging the Nostovaki on the bottom side of this town. So ZZ has reclaimed his flag. But interesting to see that these Tanko Dasaniki have unloaded early. Another off-map strike to follow onto the second part of the town. Might do really, really nicely. And then he can follow that up with a nice charge with his half-tracks. Considering the effort he's put in just to take back this flag, I'd like to see him do another big push with off-map onto the next flag. He's definitely moving it up. I'm just not sure where he's going to place it. Either way, two Ju-87 D5s coming in. These have one 500kg bomb and four 50kg bombs. Whatever they target, infantry support weapon, they're going to kill. Maybe not quite a tank necessarily in one hit, but as we can see here, the Nostovaki holding their ground, the one man left. Gonna not survive, goes down just before the bombing strikes land, but those Gavadia are in pieces after that. Nice push here from Gonzo, trying to take away ZZ's flag on this bottom side. Distract him once again, finds the 13 to 11, nicely done. 45mm, actually this is the Pack 40, sorry, the 75mm, doing a lot of work onto the Tanko Dasaniki as they came out. Now the T-34-76 going to be engaging. Looks like the off-map's actually coming down onto these trees, interestingly enough. I think there's a scenario where you could probably put the off-map between these buildings and this tree line as well, rather than directly on top of the tree line. That way you can push for another sort of surrender push with the off-map strike. But it seems like ZZ's off-map placement hasn't been optimal, but has still definitely won him back a couple of objectives so far. The Lati squads at close range can be quite dangerous, especially to the 75mm of frontal armor from the T-34 1944s. I think it's minimal penetration values at that range onto that kind of armor, but side armor for sure, the Lati's going to penetrate. Either way, the T-34s do manage to clean that up with the two machine guns and the HE ammo. We now see the Blenheims coming in with their bombs. That's going to be right on top of the Guardia, and also further back, those guys are going to go down. These ones nicely pinned. Nostavaki might be able to jump forwards and surrender them at some point, but the T-34 is making that difficult currently. You see the IL-2 is looking for the air-to-air engagement against the Blenheims to shoot them down. Not quite sure the IL-2 is fast enough to make that happen. Gonzo has managed to get a couple of Kivari into position, but they're not really going to be doing too much from that position. We now see ZZ also bringing in his Air Force. PE2 coming in with the bombing strike, looking for the kill onto the leader. Does not find it. Doesn't really pin much down other than the leader squad that was already low on morale due to the T-34s. Nostavaki in the open probably going to be dying due to the OB-25. But we now see the T-34 85 1944 from Gonzo coming out. Going to go ahead and kill one of the T-34s. Now looking to kill the second one. On the bottom, 75mm AT moving up to secure that bottom side. All nicely done. Gonzo does manage to find the T-34 76 kill. IL-2 going to get the rocket strike onto the T-34, but not quite enough to pin it down. Two more Yakari coming in to this engagement on the top side. The Tanko Desaniki there in the way. At close range, the Tanko Desaniki should win. Yakari still pretty scary though, especially en masse, but I don't think there's quite enough to make that a problem. Either way, two more units of Yakari coming into the center, one heading more to the Tanko Desaniki on the top side of this ridge. T-34-85 still in the center of the town here. Very, very loud engagement. But nice to see the supporting tank behind all of the infantry absolutely decimates that infantry squad. Nostavaki are overrun by the Avtos, and good to see ZZ reloading those into the half-track so that he can potentially push across to the opposite side flag. Will be a very nice play indeed. But the T-34-85's got that covered. Nice line of sight there through the building, straight onto where the half-tracks were moving. Ju-87 D5 comes in, kills the T-34-85 with that bombing strike, also takes out the infantry squad. Second Ju-87 smashes the infantry gun that was covering the open. Nice bombing strikes from Gonzo for sure. Those Ju-87s paying off very, very nicely so far. And again, just like the first game, nobody bringing in AA. Just happy to let this stuff happen. All of these bombing strikes coming in freely so far. The Akari do manage to scare off one of the Gavaria squads, but there's plenty more where that came from. CZ brought in plenty of them. Or those Molotovs, though, unseating the Gavaria there. And those Gavaria now going to take extra damage because they are no longer in heavy cover. We've got the two Nelonen coming in. These are the Panzer IVs. I think they are Panzer IV Gs. But they have the 2-star veterancy there. And that's going to be pretty tough for ZZ to deal with currently. Those extra machine guns and HE ammo. Definitely going to be able to whittle down the Gavaria squads that don't even have PTRDs currently. Does manage to get a nice bombing strike. Actually kills off the leader, which removes the extra veterancy from the Yakari. These Yakari got to be very careful. Do manage to get the surrender just before they unloaded. Nice timing there from Gonzo. I thought he was going to let that first unit get killed, but he doesn't. He unloads all of them. Gets them into position. Kills off another squad. With the cover from the Panzer IVs. Definitely going to do plenty of damage. Blenheim coming in with the bombing strike as well. Now we see the IL-2 coming in. Gonna smash and kill one of those Yakari. Nice rocket strike there. Takes him out. On the top side, KV-1S getting hit at close range by the 45mm AT guns. With their APCR shells, they can certainly penetrate that 95mm of frontal armor, and the OB as well with its heat shell going to be pretty scary for the KV-1S. Misses all of its shots, the OB so far. Looks like the KV-1S going to get away with that. Yakari pushing in. Tanko Dasaniki on this top side have been dealt with. 2 more Yakari there. 2 more a Kavari, sorry, and a Yakari. Now pushing back on the top side. An abundance of infantry coming out from Gonzo to push back. Now, the Panssari is quite limited on infantry, but so is the 2nd Guards tank corps. And I think currently ZZ in Phase B may be a little light on infantry on the ground. Maybe that's just because a lot of the infantry he has invested in got killed off very quickly by this Yakari plus the bombing strikes of Gonzo. But currently the infantry availability or infantry on the ground war has gone in favor of Gonzo. So 75mm gun still holding its position on the bottom side. Surprised to see that Gonzo hasn't tried to get that into position to kill this T-34-76, because I assume he can see it. But maybe more concentrating elsewhere for the time being, which totally makes sense because this top and middle part of the map have been on fire so far. Kivari, they have found machine gun fire onto the OB-25, but those are DPs, not MG-34s or MG-42s. They are limited in damage at range. The OB's happy to sit under that fire for the time being, especially with the support of the T-34-85 1944 and the M2A1 half-track. So both of those Kivari squads further up are probably going to go down. Oh, the Yakari have found themselves right next to the T-34. Down it goes. Panzerfaust does its job. Another leader has been moved forwards. Is going to give the extra veteran seat to those Panzer IVs again, making them 2-star. Yakari back to 1-star. Nice bombing strikes coming in on this top side. Oh, the second bombing strike missed because the T-34-85 moved forwards. Nice reaction there by ZZ to avoid the bombing strike landing on top of his already damaged T-34-85. That could have very easily been a kill because the tank has already been hit before. Or the Tanko Desaniki there, dismantled by the abundance of infantry of Gonzo. Yakari, Nostavaki doing a great job controlling that flag. It's now 14-10. Gonzo in a fine position so far in this map. Does have the flatline deployment type, which does give him more longevity over the Vanguard deployment type. Previously, they both had Vanguard, which is why the game lasted so long. But this time around, Gonzo is going to have that income advantage in Phase B and C to kind of seal the deal if he has an advantage in Phase A. Currently, we are in Phase B, and he's already found 2 flags, actually make that 3 flags over his opponent, 15-9 currently. Taking this flag was vital to push that double tick. Now only 12 minutes and 35 seconds until Gonzo wins the game, but ZZ, he's had enough already. He's going to surrender. 17 minutes, 47 seconds. Gonzo takes the victory after what was a fast and furious game. But of course, as I was just mentioning, the flatline deployment type going to outlast the Vanguard deployment type without sacrificing too much in the early game. And Gonzo took full advantage of that. 1,610 kills to 1,070 losses. I think the infantry engagements just fell dramatically in the favor of Gonzo, and ZZ maybe at the end just completely ran out of units maybe in his infantry tab. A lot of his Gavadio were being chewed to pieces very, very quickly by the lovely infantry armor support that Gonzo is putting on the field, plus the really nice bombing strikes coming out of the Panssari. So great use of the Panssari's power from Gonzo. I think ZZ, he did what he could. I didn't really see too many mistakes from him. Maybe the off maps could have been a little bit more optimal in order to get more surrenders, because I feel like the first off map he did was perfect, where he smashed all of the units, moved in with the Tanko Dasaniki, found both of the surrenders, captured the flag. He tried to do it the second time, it worked again. And then the third time, I feel like he almost got distracted by the units that were killing a couple of his on the top side, rather than focusing too much on the flag and the positioning in the town, which probably would have been a bit more decisive in that middle town engagement. But ZZ certainly did his best in that game, and I think his T-34s certainly traded really, really well. Yeah, the T-34-85s were fantastic for cleaning up the T-34s that Gonzo was putting on the field, and the T-26Bs. He got a bit unlucky with the T-34 engagement versus the T-26Bs. Those were absolute champions in that regard. But the 152mm off map, I think 2 out of the 3 strikes were really, really good. Made great plays with those. His airplay was a little less important than Gonzo's was, and maybe that's where the difference came through, just because of Gonzo's like Air Force being able to just do its thing and get plenty of kills. Now, of course, the Second Guard's tank corps doesn't have a terrible amount of AA to deal with those kinds of bombers on the side of the Panssari, so maybe that's something that ZZ just couldn't deal with. Let's jump over to the losses. Gonzo getting great kills with his Nostavaki, especially in the early game, cleaning up all of those Flamer squads. I'm pretty sure that ZZ got no value out of those Flamers for the most part, and also some really nice kills here from the Lati, killing plenty of those half-tracks. We saw the Yahakari and the Kivari also getting great value. The T-34-85 1944 that Gonzo brought in managed to clean up both those T-34 1943s. The bombing strikes from the Ju-8075s were perfect, except from maybe the second one that was going for the T-34-85. But either way, most of them were great, especially the one in the center that did kill the T-34-85, but not the one on the top side. The Panzer IVs came in and just chewed up those Gavardia squads that ZZ had. And generally when you see a player down to these standard Gavardia squads, that's when they're getting lower on that infantry availability. And maybe ZZ just didn't have another card of infantry until phase C maybe. And then, you know, he was still 3 minutes from phase C at that point, and it's very, very difficult to hold ground without infantry in place. So there you have it. That's it. That's game 2 of a best of 3 between Gonzo and ZZ. Gonzo takes it. Congratulations to him bringing one back in the series. Now we're going to be moving on to game 3 to see how that is decided and who moves on to the final. But that is it. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.